I have a case for you today. Imagine I have written a 600-page book. Now, before I publish it, I need to proofread the manuscript to make sure there are no spelling mistakes or typographical errors, typos. Now, I can do the proofreading myself, but I don't want to, for 3 reasons. Number 1,
I'm busy.
Number 2, it is mind-numbingly boring and tedious. And 3, I am not the best person to catch all these typos because I'm very familiar with the text. So my brain now is so familiar with the text that it skips over any errors. It fills in the gaps. So I need a fresh pair of eyes. So I decide to hire one of the undergraduate students. Now I need to decide on the incentive scheme. How am I going to pay that student to do the job? The simplest way to do it is to pay him a flat fee. I'm going to pay you $600 to proofread my textbook. Now, what's the problem with this incentive scheme? The problem is, I don't know how hard that student is working. For all I know, he might be just leafing through it casually, just skimming. Okay, looks all right. Flip. Seems all right. Here's one typo. Okay, I found one typo. Skip. Looks all right. All right, here you go. And he misses most of the typos. And then I'll publish a very poorly edited manuscript. Or worse, he might take my textbook, go home, put it on the shelf, not even look at it, play video games for 2 weeks, and come back to me and say, bravo.
Bravo.
I went through your entire manuscript, and do you know how many typos I was able to find? 0. You have done such an excellent job, Professor, that there was not a single typo. Well done. You have lived up to your reputation. And I'll be happy. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm good. I have good attention to detail. Yeah. So he takes my money and walks away and laughs about it with his friends.
You like the people to laughing at you?
Look at this naive professor. He paid me $600 to do nothing.
You are so naive.
Also note that I will not discover what a poor job he did until several months or even years. It might take some time to actually publish the book, and then once it's published, it might take a long time for people to read my book and bother reporting any typos. By that time, the student would have left town with my money and moved on to scam other innocent professors. So needless to say, I'm not a fan of the flat fee. The flat fee does not provide enough incentive for the worker to work diligently to achieve the goals that I want. So it's a poor incentive scheme. Now, I know you might want to suggest, hey, Professor Shades, what if you hold on to the money until, you discover the typos in the future, and then if he's done a good job, you would pay him? On the face of it, it sounds nice, but is it practical? How long am I supposed to hold on to the money? A month? 6 months? A year? Until I discover what a poor job he's done? Or what a good job he's done? That's not practical. An incentive scheme should be practical and easy to administer. I can't tell the student, okay, how about working for 100 hours on my manuscript and I will pay you $600 after 1 year. All right, do we have a deal? No. Bad idea. Okay, here's another incentive scheme that we can try. What if we don't pay any flat fees up front and we pay the student $2 for every typo he discovers? This should motivate the student to work diligently to find as many typos as he can. Because the more typos he finds, the more money he makes. So this scheme is good at incentivizing the worker to work hard to achieve the goal that I want. But there's a big problem with this incentive scheme. The student will most likely reject it. He will rightly think, hey, what if I spend over 100 hours slaving over this manuscript and end up finding no typos? Then I would have wasted all this effort for nothing. Maybe I'll get $0. Maybe I just find 2 typos and I make $4. It's not worth my while. I'm sorry, Professor Shades, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to take that job. So a good incentive scheme has to be incentivizing enough for the worker to participate, for the worker to accept the job. And this scheme fails in that regard. So what do we do now? Now you're probably thinking, hey, Professor Shades, I have an idea. Why don't we mix the 2 incentive schemes? Pay the student a $300 flat fee plus $2 for every typo he finds. This way, the $300 is incentivizing enough for him to accept the job, and then the $2 per typo incentive is motivating enough for him to find as many typos as possible. Problem solved. I admit that this solution is better than the first 2, however, it is still flawed. Again, the student might pocket my $300 and not do any work, and put my book on the shelf, play video games for 2 weeks and come back and tell me he found nothing, then he'll make $300. Maybe he's too lazy to try to get the $2 per typo. Maybe he thinks, what if there are no typos in the book, or only a few typos in the book? It's not worth the effort. Let me get that free $300 without doing any work. How do I trust that he's gonna work on my manuscript? I think I have trust issues. But not really. It's not about trust issues. It's about being smart. It's about being strategic enough to design an incentive scheme that works whether the person you're dealing with is honest or dishonest. So for me, this third incentive scheme, while it's better than the first two, it's still not good enough. The guy might take my money again. In his mind, like, hey, if you offer me $600, I will take it and not do the job. If you want to offer me only $300, I will still take it and not do the job. Thank you for your generous donation, Professor Shades. It's very kind of you to give me free money. I don't like that. So I have thought about this problem and came up with this solution. I will take the manuscript and sprinkle typos all over it on purpose. I will Salt Bae these typos across the manuscript. So let's say there are 10 chapters in the book. I will put 3 typos in every chapter. Now, if the student doesn't do any work and just puts it on the shelf, when he comes back, I will know that he didn't touch the manuscript, and I will bust him. Even better, I will tell him up front that I have 30 typos in the book that I'm aware of. I did not remove them yet. I will pay you $300 flat fee, and for every typo that you discover, I will pay you $3. And for every known typo that you miss, I will penalize you $10.
Damn, man, that was harsh.
Now, if the student had no intention of working on my manuscript, he just wanted to put it on the shelf and just claim the money, he will not take it because there are 30 typos, and if he misses them all, he will be penalized at $300. So that will cancel out the $300 flat fee that he would have gotten, so he'll get zero. So it wouldn't make sense for him to accept the job. So he will screen himself out and not take the job. Now, if the student is honest, he would accept the job. In his mind, he'll think, I'll make $300 flat fee. There are 30 typos in the book, so if I work diligently enough, I'll find them all. I'll make 3 times 30, I'll make $90 on those typos, so that's $390. And there probably will be other typos in the book. It's a 600-page book, so chances are there are more typos there, so I'll make even more money. And he will accept it. So now, he has the incentive to work hard, one, to make more money per typo, and he has the incentive of working hard so he doesn't miss any of my 30 deliberate typos, so he doesn't get penalized. So that is my solution. What do you think of it? By the way, Professor Barry Nailbuff from Yale University had a similar situation where he wrote a book on game theory, and he was giving a game theory course at Yale. So this is the incentive scheme that he came up with. He told his students that we're going to use this textbook in the class, and for every typo you discover, you get paid $2, provided that you're the first person to locate that typo. Now, this is an excellent scheme. 1, it motivates the students to find the typos and to find them quickly. 2, it doesn't have that participation problem. The students cannot say, hey, what if I spend hundreds of hours reading this manuscript and I don't find any typos? Then I would have wasted my time and put all this effort for nothing. They can't say that because they have to read the book anyways. It's assigned for their course. So the participation problem is avoided. And the third advantage of this incentive scheme is that it will maximize the number of typos that will be discovered. Imagine there are 100 students in that class and there's a typo on a certain page. It's extremely unlikely that all 100 students would miss it. And sure enough, the students took the task seriously and they were reading the textbook chapter by chapter as they went along in the course. They reported the typos. A lot of them made some money here and there. However, there was one lady who beat everyone. She made the most money by far. How did she do it? She started at the end of the book and worked backwards. All the other students were reading the book in order. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and they were competing amongst each other who's going to be faster at detecting and reporting the typos. And here she was at the end of the book with no competition whatsoever. Every typo she discovers, she gets paid for. I love smart people. See you next time. The neighbors are awfully quiet today. I don't like this. I feel like something is off. It's unsettling. So you have 200 eyeballs scrutinizing.